In the first video, we looked at the structure of our accountancy practice workbook. Now we're going to turn the Jobs and Deadlines worksheet and Records Tracker worksheet. First, we will look at the Jobs and Deadlines worksheet. Our objective is simple. See what work is due, who is responsible, and what needs attention. Each row represents one job. If a client has annual accounts, corporation tax, and payroll work, those are 3 separate records, 3 separate rows. The client ID links each job to the correct client, while the job ID uniquely identifies the job itself. This gives us a clean structure that Excel can easily filter, count, and analyze. We introduced drop-down lists in the first video. In the real workbook, drop-down lists need to update automatically as new records, like new clients, are added. Take this client ID drop-down. To create drop-down boxes that automatically expand, we use named ranges. We can create a named range by going to Formulas, Name Manager. Call the new named range Client IDs. I type it here and set refers to as this table column. I can quickly select this column table using the keyboard combination control +Shift+ downward arrow. Now we go to Data Group, then Data Validation. In here, choose List and then for the source. We will click Function key F3. Now, for example, when a new client is added to the Clients table, the new client ID automatically becomes available in the drop-down. It's a small design decision that makes the workbook much more durable. The first calculation in our Jobs Tracker is Days to Due formula. Let's see how it works. Excel stores dates as numbers, so we can subtract one date from another. If the result is 10, the job is due in 10 days. If it's -3, the job became overdue 3 days ago. The today function is a small but very handy function. It simply returns the current date. Because it updates automatically, our days to due calculation also updates automatically. So our tracker moves forward with time without anyone manually changing it. Now let's turn the number into an attention message. Days to due is useful, but we can make the tracker clearer. Instead of expecting somebody to interpret every number, we'll make Excel display one of the following. Complete. Overdue. Due this week, waiting on client, or nothing, if no special attention is required. We use a nested if, which you can see here. It looks complicated until we break it down. Excel asks 4 questions. Is the job complete? If not, has the deadline passed? If not, is it due within 7 days? If not, are we waiting for the client? Each if only moves to the next test when its own test is false. Please note, the order of the tests matters. This is probably the most important part of the formula. Excel tests the conditions from left to right and stops when it finds one that's true. We check complete first. Otherwise, a completed job with an old due date could incorrectly appear as overdue. We then check overdue before waiting on client. So if we're waiting for a client but the deadline has already passed, Excel displays overdue. That's the more urgent message. When building nested if formulas, therefore, don't just decide what to test, but also decide which test takes priority, highlight the exceptions. Finally, we use conditional formatting on the attention column. When Excel returns overdue, we highlight it strongly. When it returns due this week, we use a warning format, and completed jobs can have their own completion format. The formatting is automatic because it's driven by the result of our formula. In this worksheet, we've taken a straightforward list of jobs and added 3 important features. Dynamic drop-downs that grow with the workbook, date calculations that move forward automatically, attention flags that tell users where to look. That's what makes a tracker useful. The user shouldn't have to scan hundreds of records looking for problems. Excel should identify the exceptions first. Then the user decides what action to take. We'll apply the same principle to the client records tracker, identifying what information is missing, how long we've been waiting for it, and which clients need to be chased. We don't have the information from the client. That's what our client records tracker is designed to manage. It answers 3 simple questions. What have we requested? What is still missing? Who needs to be chased? Each record request has its own record ID and is linked to a job ID. The job ID is important. A client may have several jobs underway, but the records we're requesting usually relate to a particular job. This is why IDs become so useful as workbooks grow. They allow separate tables to remain connected without putting everything into one enormous worksheet. Across the tracker, we can see the information we are tracking from bank statements to fixed assets data. Each item can then be marked: not requested, requested, part received, complete. That gives us much better information than a single records received, yes or no. We can see exactly what's holding up the job. Very importantly, we also store the date requested. That date allows Excel to answer a much more useful question: how long have we been waiting? Our days waiting calculation formula does that. Let's have a look at it. Let's break it down. First, Excel checks. If the records are complete, we return 0. There's no point continuing to count the days. Otherwise, Excel calculates the date requested. So if we requested the information 18 days ago, Excel returns 18. Tomorrow it becomes 19. Again, today function makes the tracker move forward automatically. Now, knowing we've been waiting 18 days is useful, but the real question is, do we need to do something about it? That's the purpose of our attention column. The logic is straightforward. If everything is complete, return complete. Otherwise, if we've been waiting more than 30 days, return chase client. If we've been waiting more than 14 days, follow up. Otherwise, leave the cell blank. Again, the order matters. Just as we saw earlier in the eyes video, the order of our tests matters. We test more than 30 days before, more than 14 days. Why? Because a record request that's 40 days old satisfies both conditions. It's more than 14 days old, and it's more than 30 days old. If we tested 14 days first, Excel would return, follow up, and stop there. It would never reach chase client. So we test the most serious condition first. This is a useful principle when using nested IF. Test from highest priority to lowest priority. So don't just track, identify the exceptions. A tracker shouldn't simply store information. It should help the user find the records that require action. Instead of somebody repeatedly scanning the entire table, Excel identifies, follow up, and chase client. That turns a passive list into a practical working tool. And notice how little we've needed to achieve it. The main Excel tools are 1. Today, 2. If, 3. Conditional formatting. The value comes from the design and how those tools are used together. We have now built 2 connected trackers. Jobs and deadlines tells us what work needs to be done and when. Client records tells us whether we have the information needed to do it. Together they give us a much clearer picture of what's happening across the practice. But with hundreds of clients and jobs, we still don't want users searching through these tables manually. In the next video, we'll build the client inquiry screen. We'll select a client and use XLOOKUP and filter to bring their key information, outstanding fees, and open jobs together in one place.
Whether you're looking to improve your own Excel skills or train an entire team, we've built a practical course for real-world Excel users. Our 6-level online program takes learners from beginner to advanced and now includes using Excel with AI, ensuring every skill level is covered. For businesses and universities, we support groups from 3 users to over 1,000. Managers can track progress, monitor results, and see team performance in real time. Course levels include online exams, and learners who achieve 75% receive an automatically generated CPD-certified Excel certificate. Individual and corporate group licenses available. Learn Excel. Work faster.